Welcome to Onivia Highlights. These are the best highlights from the LPL 2025 Split 2.
So we've seen it a little bit in this split, much in the same way that we've kind of seen a bunch of laners go towards Grasp. It's surprisingly decent damage in lane, and it gives you better sustain than Fleet Footwork does nowadays. Was also, then again, giving you some extra HP to work through the rest of the game with. Now, of course, you don't get as much value against a ranged champion, but in that case, it's less about the HP stacking in a melee versus melee matchup, and more about just that sustain of, okay, it heals you basically if you're missing HP.
Big time. Still, the range versus melee match, it does get a bit obnoxious all the way. While that's really the case right now, because obviously the Shy ended up in that. And we had to do that little flash away, and they have lane swapped out of it just early on. Again, the Kalista Renata is starting to get to that point where the early shove isn't as problematic to manage. Yes, Karma notoriously great before first back, and then afterwards, very dependent on how those first few levels went. We get interrupted here on the reset. They're going to interrupt that one. They have got bailouts to work with here. They might look for a dive here, actually. There goes the bailout. Handshake gets a bit of a snap. Tree Shot Barrage comes on down. Gala's got the bailout to work with. They will lose one to the tower at the back end of it. Ura's coming on over. Gala going to try and find a way to hop around. JJ's coming, but he's going to have to leave it. And it ends up being a 1-for-1 in sorts.
Yeah, Gala and Maker can't pull off the dive quickly enough to get out. JJ will have to now hop over, goes to the W, but the charm's not cast yet.
Does miss the charm and ends up hitting a minion. Slightly awkward there. So you twisting your head a little bit disappointed in that angle.
Well, it's more of a Dragon Shahu will come over. Tien been the real core of this early game so far. Gala and Maker tried their hands at a dive. They've fallen a bit of gold behind Light and Air. That's some summoners going forward. Maker doesn't have flash, doesn't have the Glycerol either. Flash forward from Light. You pull out the hostile takeover. I don't think it's going to be enough, and indeed it won't. But luckily, his teammate picks up a kill before he goes down.
Nicely done. That makes that the 1-for-1. Both supports end up falling down. I shouldn't have said anything about Era, should I? There we go. That was my fault.
Well, it's not even a new trick. It's an old dog with an old trick, knowing that, they pulled this one on me before. Going to be the bot lane tower being taken by IG, shared between the Aurora and the Callista. Tell me in chat, would you prefer there be Sab Carp or Rena Turn? you tell us.
What was going on?
Out of all
the games of the Rift.
Of all the top lanes they had to walk into, they had to walk into mine. The third seed, and of course sending them down to the lower bracket where they ended up losing on this very stage, their home arena. JDG going out the earliest possible opportunity for themselves on their home stage. And Weibo were part of the architects of that. IG on the other side. Farming doesn't seem to cut it, as Shy might have to show off his legendary deeds, and Lubu do it again.
This fort is looking a little empty, but he's going to TP out the Grand Escape. They can't get him range. Xiao Hu ults to no avail. Curse you, Shy.
And Weibo, they will not find their man, but they will find the turret using the Herald, and that'll charge in towards the top lane inner turret. Rookie might look for a sweep on mid lane, though, if Light overstays. Light, knowing that he's on the right side of the map, though, to stay safe, and won't leave himself open to it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take the L, which is very appropriate considering his name.
Hongming is the guy that did that, by the way. The ultimate, the ultimate aura farmer.
That's exactly it. I mean, off the side of the map, this should be a fairly easy day because Tien at this point, I think, can just solo. He's got 2 items.
Yeah, they are walking up the river, but with the teammates walking over, IG won't be able to contest. They, pushing up in that mid lane, already took that mid lane out to turret, even enough in gold. IG not really in a position to fight this, though. Rookie could teleport up, choosing not to. Atacon freely over to Web. It's not the biggest loss ever. It's not the biggest objective. It does help a little bit, but it's not the end of things.
No, it's not. Sure. We'll eviscerate away, get some value in. Mako gonna find a really good angle for the hostile takeover. What a flank. What about the turnaround, though? They didn't actually manage to get as much follow-up as I think they were hoping for. Fate's Call now out. Are running into the issue of having absolutely no reasonable CC and have done nothing.
This crowd is not controlled. This is a free-flowing crowd. No one is getting CC'd. There's like a charm, a cyclone, and a whole lot of mobility to get out of it. Yep. You place yourself. Honestly, chat, this is a very good thought experiment. I think it teaches
the Atacon.
Xiao Hu might go toward the charm.
Into the charm. Gala gonna flash. Wonderful angle on the Ari. Gets so much value here in the Orb of Deception after A+ stuff.
Awesome from Xiao Hu. Gets a very quick 2-item spike. The Horizon Focus being an incredible stat stick for this moment in time. And Gala and Mako, despite the fact that there is very little that can catch them out, still managed to by over-pushing in the mid lane. Great punish by Xiao Hu. And, yeah, if we have...
Banshee's fell second or heading towards got the Verdant Barrier. This basically means that who stops this Ari going for plays like that again? She is so hard to lock down at this point. You just get to melee range of everyone.
No, and when we're saying, hey, not that much engage in this comp, I think Xiaohu has made a good call here to say, look, I can be the engage, give me some defenses on slot 3, and we can get some value. Stuff like this. You can potentially buy the Callista ultimate, half HP already. There it is, it's gone. Xiaohu, the architect of that again.
Now he ult's looking to get around the back end of this, threatening Mako, who's so damn low. The Aurora ult is good, though, from the Shy. But the hostile taker tries to come on through, they're getting some damage back. The bailout comes through, it means absolutely nothing. Gala is having a festival at his own expense, as Xiaohu resets again and again and again. The Shy really wishes he was a bit more nervous. Does at least take one down on the way out. Doesn't have enough cooldowns, gets hit by the Q. And Light will arcane shift forwards to get a bit more value. JJ at least survives with the call of the pack, but everybody else is in a mass grave.
Wonderful last few minutes of play from Xiaohu. Back in 2022, I thought he was one of the 2 best Ahri players in the world alongside Faker. And a lot of it was because at that time, she was an initiation bot. You traded your HP, you put your body on the line, and you looked to get those plays started. It's exactly the same he's doing now here on the Ahri, looking
for... gets to keep running it. And the Shy, at the very least, does get one on the way out. Then Light, flash for the Essence Bug, hits the Q. That resets the Arcane Shift. Straight all skill, as you would say. Xiaohu looking for more. Still got 2 charges on the ult. There's the Redemption coming on down, but happy enough to have earned a few more cooldowns. And at this point in the game as well, with all this ability haste, I really don't think Xiaohu's ult's going to be on that longer cooldown.
Nope. At this point in the game, I think it's something like it'll get 1 near the end of the timer. You basically get like a 5-second cooldown, all things said and done.
Rookie about to get run at here. Will slide away, hit by the needles though, and actually going to get hit again. There's no quite ghost yet for Rookie, but he's run out of cooldown. He's just going to die here, surely. Does manage to get away with 5% HP, but Tien's coming on down. He's far too fast in the river with all of that water walking available to him. Jesus wishes. And Tien gonna think about starting your forwards. All right, Rookie tries to get something at the back end of this, knowing he's not getting out.
Yep, not giving it over to Tien. Just saying, okay, one of you can get the kill. I ain't giving assist gold over. Baron on the other side of the map, not started by IG, not in position to do so. They're so far behind now. They're against the Soul Point. They do have a Callista, which typically would be very good at stacking Baron. However, in this case, you're on red side, which makes it harder to play around the Baron because you're stuck with the wall at your back against a longer range composition with the Ahri and the Ezreal. And Tien finds out the Shy.
The Shy gonna get Nimbus struck afterwards, trying to run away. Is doing a fairly decent job, but there comes the Smite slow at the end of it all, just to ensure that Wukong will not be denied. One of the stickiest champions in the game. Can't run away from that. Hard CC means that's what you're kind of obligated into.
I was actually quite surprised that Xiaohu didn't look for the ult there. You know, he had the Banshees up, he's level 16 with ultimate, it's not a long cooldown. Dragon now up at a minute 30, IG not wanting to give the Ocean Soul over, of course, because they had any choice about it. They have to pray for a massive overstep from Weibo, and they can get their own resets onto someone. Rookie jumping forwards in the mid lane. Air have caught out. This is not bad, actually. No one really in position to follow up. That's a good pick from IG just before the Dragon score.
Gala's flashing on forwards, looking for an angle. Just get jumped on as Tien tries to try and turn around. It's a really big true shot barrage. The hostile takeover is solid. Xiaohu gets hit by it. Needs to run away, but gets one on the way out. Got another ult charge to work with. IG actually pretty low at the back end of this all the while in the base, they're losing inhibitors.
IG gets some really good picks there, killing Wukong for the first time in the game, getting Air down as well. Brief does get the inhib, but you know, IG, they get a little more out of that than I thought.
Gonna get that reset off, and now Light's kind of trapped here. All of the pods, sorry, Hunt Pursuit.
Wow, that's a lot of damage. Whoa!
Light just doesn't care, and he murders him.
Insane from Light. Manages to hop over the dogs to get a clean Q shot. Often Ezreal not good into Neferi because the dogs block it. Light, awesome combo. The press, the attack burst, insane there, and kills Jejet now before the Dragon. IG had a brief window where they can make a play, lose their jungle actually, to get across the other side of the dogs. Clean from Light. Wasn't even close there, Jejet got exploded.
There goes the Dragon. Secure by back end of this. Looking to see whether he can start this because IG are going to rush the Baron. TP's now coming on in. Here comes the rest of the gaming. Mako needs to be a little bit afraid. Rookie goes golden. Gala at 2/3. Make that 1/3 HP as Xiaohu needs to back out over the wall. He's got one ult charge remaining. Looking for the charm angle. Misses it. Baron be allowed to reset. IG can't get the value they're hoping for. Super Minions now in the base.
Yeah, they are. At least it's on top side, which makes it a little easier to clear that out than walk towards Baron. But Weibo say, well, you'd have to send someone back towards the base. You don't have that luxury now. We were saying, look, Xiaohu has basically no ult cooldown. It'll be up again in about 15 seconds. Ult pull through from the Aurora.
Got that one. That's the reset for this Neferi. Nexus turret 1 is about to fall. Has done so. They need to reset. They need to get out of here. And they're not. They're still stuck around. Rookie has gone back. Has got the TP to rejoin the fight should he need to.
Xiaohu missed the charm flash there, but has the ultimate up in a few seconds. All it will really take now is one bit of CC. landing. Teleport back in towards the Baron now after one wave has been cleared. IG realize we have to go now with this slim advantage. The Shy gets a good chunk.
Does indeed. TN chunked out low. Not necessarily be going out as yet. There goes the Baron being started and run down. Too much to deal with there. Try and jump a little bit further forward. The needles come on out. Reef getting some damage. Does get shuffled back, but not putting a lot of damage. Good steal in secure by Xie to ensure that the Baron goes their way. Gala will try to bounce way around and will fail to do so. The Baron was secured at the cost of 2.
Cost of 2, which means they will probably lose another in here anyway. I don't think you can defend, and as we were talking about before, the Ahri ultimate kind of just decorative at this point. Is basically always available. Weibo will take the 2 kills and see if they can break the base before IG can defend it with the Baron buff.
Basically got no wave clear as well. It's Aurora or bust at this point. Ballista, the Deer being down for the count makes this very tricky indeed. Mako about to be jumped at here by TN potentially. Inhibitor number 2 does fall.
There's no Callisto ult for the Aurora, for the Renata either. Teleporting in. There's only one Nexus turret. They're just going to end.
Shy tries to throw to between worlds, get some damage down. The hotel takeover is solid, but Light just isn't taking any meaningful damage. They don't have the engage, they don't have the CC, and they sure as hell don't have the damage. Nexus now under siege, and Weibo Gaming may lose the Baron, but they'll take the Nexus in trade.
IG fell behind.